What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the DE podcast. So, obviously, me and EKAMRESH are here as always, and today we'll be talking about the Summer League. It just started. We'll be talking about the Olympics, how USA won the gold medal, how JaVale McGee won his first ever gold medal, and then we'll be talking about the free agency, how Dennis Schroeder was an idiot and he accepted a deal which was like 3 times smaller than his deal with the LA Lakers. Um, so yeah. So also we haven't been posting on Instagram on this podcast. You guys all know because it's too long. That's the sad news. We're still posting all our shorts on Instagram, so that's a positive. But remember, the YouTube is in the description of the Instagram bio. And then if you guys are on YouTube right now, which all of you should be, and if you guys want to go see us on Instagram, then the link will be in the bio to our Instagram. You can go see our shorts, pictures, everything. We have about 300 followers on there, so pretty good fan base. So yeah. So let's get started. So the Summer League, I haven't watched too much. I've watched a couple games, but there's been many rookies playing well. Obviously, the stars have been there. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Yvonne Mobley, Scotty Barnes. He's not a star, but he's one of those guys. Um, but then, yeah. So today, actually, Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green are facing off in a game. But we can definitely talk about it on our podcast during the weekend. Um, but yeah, I mean, Akers, what do you think about Cade Cunningham? Like, do you think he impressed you in the first game? He had 12 points, 5 of 17 shooting, 29%, 26 minutes. Like, what do you think? Is that a good game for the number one overall pick getting started, or?
I mean, obviously, it's not a good game, I guess you'd say,
Yeah.
uh, by his standards for being the number one overall pick. But I think it's more like just a feel out game, because he hasn't really he hasn't had any experience yet. That was his first like NBA level game, and so I think it was just another feel out game. Yeah, he didn't shoot well. He only scored 12 points, but I think everybody's gonna have those off nights, especially as a rookie.
Yeah. I mean, it's his first game. You can't
So
really judge him. Yeah. You can't judge
yeah,
him
I
from
agree. I
first game.
mean, I saw some people on Twitter who were like, "Oh my God, Cade Cunningham, he's so bad. He can't even like Jalen Green should have been drafted first." Like, I just thought about like, no, that's not how it works. Like, it's not that simple. Like, you got to give all these guys time. They're not going to be good from the first day.
Yeah. It's not like they're going to score like 25 points every single game, except Michael Jordan. But, like, other than that, you're not going to score 25 points a game. And then the first pick scores 15, the second pick scores like 23, and you're like, oh my God, he's supposed to be first pick. Oh my God. And this is terrible. No. I mean, you have like it's like the 2018 with DeAndre Ayton and Luca and Trey Young. Like everybody thought that Luca would be so good. I mean, it worked out. Like Luca was much better, but it took time at least because now we're getting a glimpse of DeAndre Ayton at his like good spot. He's playing. He played well in the playoffs. So now everyone's saying, "Oh, okay, so he did deserve to be number one pick, the number one pick in 2018. There was nothing bad about that."
Yeah, and even Trey Young, I remember like in the first half of his rookie season was pretty rough, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe the Hawks drafted him. I mean, why did they trade Luca away? Like all this stuff." But then you saw this past playoff, he just absolutely balled out. Like he played really, really well, and also in the whole regular season, the Hawks obviously they started with a losing record and eventually just built their way up and made it to the fifth seed, and worked their way up from there. And it was only after this playoffs that, like as you said, DeAndre Ayton and even Trey Young started to get the respect that they deserved. And I mean, I'm just really glad.
Yeah, I mean the league is getting more excited, especially now with the Lakers and Nets. I mean, both conferences have some competition, so it's not like one conference has competition. The other is just sweep, 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 sweep. One team gets into the finals. That's how it works. Um, but yeah, I think that Katie Cunningham. I mean, not a good game, but he's getting used to it. He's adapting to the NBA. But it's definitely somebody like Joey Green. He had
Oh
a
my,
great game, 23 points, efficient shooting with the Rockets. They're playing against Cade Cunningham. Hopefully, he can prove himself even more in his first games as a Rocket. Um, Yeah, I think Jalen Green has a lot of potential. I think he could be a shooter. I think he could be like a Damian Lillard or Zach LaVine type. There's a good all-around shooter, precise, with precision, high percentages as a shooter. So yeah, I think that's the type of player that he's gonna be. Um, I think that the Rockets could or could not have an impact this year. But again, like it's not like one person's gonna carry a team, right? Except if you're with like Michael Jordan or LeBron James, then you could, have a chance.
Yeah, it's gonna be. He had an amazing game, and I think everybody like his experience already showed because obviously he didn't play at college. He went straight to the G League. You know, he signed with the team, went straight out of high school, and I think overall that decision is just paying off right now because of the way he's been playing. So I mean, I think it was more of an experience thing from him because of how well he's played. And I mean, moving on, I guess that he actually in that game when he played overall pick, plays for the Cavs, and he also didn't have a great game. He had a good defensive game where he scored 12 points, had 5 rebounds, and he had 3 blocks, 1 steal, and then he also shot pretty poorly with being 6 of 17 from the field. So, I mean, what do you think about him also?
I mean, Evan Mobley, I mean, he's known for his defense. I mean, I've seen so many videos of him. He's known to be that defensive guy, rebounder, blocker. He had a good game defensively, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. Shooting wise, I mean, he's a center, right? You shouldn't expect the center to come out and put on a show. Um, I think that's what the Raptors need, which I'm kind of sad about. But um, yeah, I think the Cavs are getting some good big man stuff from, especially with Kevin Love. I mean, Kevin Love is like so. Like he's around, he's not around, he gets injured, he gets not injured. So I think that the Cavs can do something with Evan Mobley. I think they used their pick pretty smart, considering they didn't need a shooter. They had Colin Sexton, Daniel Garland. They have their shooters on their team right now. So I don't think that they need to worry about that right now. So I think they just need to rebuild. They're technically rebuilding right now, so they just have to rebuild fully. Hopefully, make the playoffs this or next year. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I still don't get why they signed Jarrett Allen to that $25 million per year contract. That just doesn't really make any sense to me. Because Evan Mobley is supposed to be that next guy, right? And I just hope I hope that somehow if his shooting is good enough that he can just be that power forward. But I don't really know what they're doing there.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I said this in the last podcast. I think with Jared Allen, they need somebody to be there. I mean, it can't just be Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley's a rookie. Um, Jared Allen, Jared Allen has experience. He was there. He plays good defense. He blocked LeBron, so that could tell that he's pretty good. Um, I mean, he's. I don't know if it's $25 million a year. I don't think it's worth that much, but I think he deserved to stay there. I mean, I don't think he needed. Probably other teams wanted him, but he needs to stay where he is right now. They
Mm-hmm.
need 2 centers on their team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do because they still haven't traded Colin Sexton, so I'm assuming that they're gonna keep him for the rest of the season, right? So I mean, if they'll have Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, um, Emeka Okafor, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen, which is honestly a pretty decent starting five if you think of if they're all playing at their best and meshing together. But I think there's a few questions like, oh, is Evan Mobley and Jared Allen gonna work together? Like, can you like last year actually? They actually had a lot of lineups where they were before they traded Andre Drummond. They would even have like Andre Drummond, Kevin Love in the same lineup, or Andre Drummond and Larry Nance Jr., who's another big man. Like they did a lot of 2 big man lineups. So I think that's why they re-signed Jared Allen, but I don't know if it'll work. That's just my main concern.
Yeah, I mean, when I kind of think about the duo, it's obviously a duo like a guard and a center. So I mean, I think if Colin Sexton and Yvonne Mobley, get that duo going, and then Jared Allen and all these guys like Okafor or whatever. If they help out, then it can be a good team. I mean, I don't see why not make the plan. But I think we can move on to my team. I'm having a very hard time sticking with them as my favorite team. Scotty Barnes, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 39% field goal percentage. I honestly, I'm not like surprised at all. I expected him to come out and like do something like that, like double double. Good job. Summer league doesn't really matter. Um, I don't know. Jalen Suggs was better. I still regret it to this day. Jalen Suggs had such a good game. I watched that game. I was like, please, like if I regret this, I'm gonna cry. Like Jalen Suggs had the best game, man. Jalen Suggs played better than Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green in his first game. They won in overtime. He had like 29 points or something like that. It was just crazy. He was shooting it well. He was getting a couple boards, getting some assists. He was all around. Scotty Barnes, I don't care about you, man. The Raptors waived Aaron Baines and Paul Watson Jr. and DeAndre Bembry, which I thought was smart because they don't need those people in their lineup. But they signed Goran Dragic, and now I was actually relieved, but now I'm getting worried because now they're saying that Goran Dragic said that he doesn't want to be in Toronto and that he's thinking about going somewhere else. And then Preston Ochoa seems chill. I mean, Preston Ochoa hopefully can have a good season with us. I mean, he didn't have a bad season in Miami. He played for Nigeria in the Olympics. I think that he could be a good player. I mean, in Miami in the last season, he averaged 5 points, 1 assist, but he averaged 4 rebounds. I mean, it's not he didn't get minutes, to be fair with you. I mean, he didn't get minutes. Obviously they had Bam Adebayo and they had all these other guys, so he didn't really get any chance to prove himself at all.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully the Raptors can make him get minutes and have a breakout year. Unless Masai Ujiri is like the dumbest man alive and puts like Kem Birch as their starting center or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have, honestly, I don't think he had that bad a game. 18 points, 10 rebounds is pretty good.
No, but I'm not saying it's a bad game. I just said Jalen Suggs would have been better.
Yeah, Jalen Suggs actually, in the summer league, in his first game, he had 23 points, and he was very efficient too. So I agree that Jalen Suggs would be better, but I don't think he'll be terrible. But just like with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, it's just so weird because OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam are both already on your team. Like, why do you need another guy who plays pretty similar to them?
This is so. I don't get it. I don't get it at all because the Raptors don't need these freaking centers. Like they have Kem Birch. They have. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? People are gonna think that hey, you're not doing any. You're not being smart. Let me just search up the Toronto Raptors roster. I'll read you how many guards there are, and I'll read you how many centers there are. Let me just do that. Let me just. I want to clear it up. Okay. Forward, 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 center, forward, 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 guard, 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 guard. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 forward centers on their team and 4 guards. And they signed 1, 2, 3, 4 of them this 5. Well, no, they signed 4 of them this offseason. And guards, they signed 1. Actually, yeah, 1. And that 1 wants to get out of Toronto. So my point is, if Goran Dragic goes to a different team and we can get someone okay, because everybody likes Goran Dragic. They like his movement on the court. They like his shooting. That's one of his specialties, which the Raptors need. So Goran Dragic is a player that we need, and hopefully if he wants to leave, then we get a good player in return for him. Because last year, I was struggling being a fan because I was watching their games and they kept losing. Then they traded Norman Powell, which is like the dumbest trade in Raptors history. Like, DeMar DeRozan, at least you got Kawhi, and you guys won a championship. But Norman Powell for Gary Trent Jr. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least you won the title 2 years ago. I mean, it's not like you're still ringless. That's the good thing. Kawhi should have stayed though. Kawhi should have stayed.
But Kawhi just didn't want to. At least for Kawhi, I understood why he left. Kyle Lowry, I'm not mad about Kyle Lowry either. Kyle Lowry just wanted to play with Miami with his friends. Okay, I'm fine with that. Like, it's Kyle Lowry. Like, at least they did something at least they did something to the team. Like like Kyle Lowry sacrificed 9 years of his career to come to Toronto, a place where the team wasn't so good. Made them a playoff team, then made them a conference finals team, then made them a champion. So yeah, give credit to them. I'm really happy that we were able to do that. But it's not like one championship and then you're cool for the rest of your life. Like, you want more. Like the Bulls, like the Last Dance documentary. Michael Jordan won a championship. It's not over. He wants to win more. At this point, I want my team to be the 2017 Warriors, for God's sake. I want my team to be the 2017 Golden State Warriors. Just keep winning.
Yeah, and actually, one final thing about the Raptors before we move on. I was reading an article, and it was like the Raptors GM was talking about how the trade rumors that they might trade Pascal Siakam, and he basically said that they're not going to trade Pascal Siakam, which
Oh, okay, good.
yeah, they're not going to trade him, which I think is a good thing.
If
And
they're
I'm
gonna trade him, I'm done.
Yeah, but there were actually apparently I didn't know this, but there were actually a few rumors about him getting possibly traded. But then the GM just shut it down. He was like, "All these rumors, they're just rumors. You don't need to believe anything. We know what we're doing."
Pascal Siakam for Ben Simmons.
No.
I'm kidding. I mean, right now it doesn't say anything. I mean, it says that NBA trade rumors like Ben Simmons, Siakam talks could pick up. Multiple teams and want him one day ago. Yahoo Sports, NBC Sports. I don't. Did he say that or is it like just?
No, he did say that. I saw him say
I just don't think I love Siakam. Don't get me wrong, I love him because he also did very well in that championship year. But I don't think we could rebuild around Pascal. I think we need someone like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna win a championship with Pascal as your number one guy. He hasn't really shown that.
Yeah, that's not possible. Like, I'm trying to look up right now, like, with some Gordon and Dragic trade rumors because I'm trying to see who they want for him. They said that Goran Dragic won't be bought out by the Raptors. That's on Bleacher Report. They're determined to keep him, and they haven't engaged in buyout discussions. They're rebuffing trade advances. He's a six man who could. Oh my God. Now they're saying that he's an effective six man who could go behind Fred VanVleet.
Oh, they want Fred VanVleet to start?
No, nothing about Fred VanVleet starting, but like who's gonna start instead of Goran Dragic? Stanley Johnson? No, it's Stanley Johnson for sure. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of confusing. We'll see. I mean, I think the Raptors, there's still a lot of time. They're probably going to pull something because they definitely want to get back in competitive and get back into the playoffs.
like, as much as I love them, you cannot get into contention with Siakam as your captain. Like, as much as I like Siakam, I have nothing against him. Sure, he was an all-star, but you cannot do that. Like, yeah, you cannot do that. You cannot have Siakam as your captain and then expect your team to win the championship. If you have a lot of really good players around him, just Siakam's just a teeny bit better, okay, yeah, then I'm cool with that. But like, get somebody like, I honestly, I'm gonna say this, and I won't regret saying it. I won't regret if they were to trade Siakam for a guard, a really good guard, because hear me out. They have so many forwards on their team. They have Anunoby, who would still be. They have Kem Burge. Okay, as much as I hate the guy, he's fine. Like, he's a basketball player. He's in the NBA because now we have Precious Achiuwa. So if you do trade Pascal Siakam and you get like Jaylen Brown, I don't think it's gonna happen. But like this is not gonna happen. But if you understand. But like if you trade Siakam for a good guard who can get like 15 to 20 points a game, yeah, then I'll definitely be okay. Now we have a chance to go to the playoffs. With Siakam as your captain, I want Siakam to stay in Toronto because if Siakam was to leave Toronto by the end of free agency, I'm gonna be pissed. Unless we get a good guard. If we get another stupid forward in our team, I don't want to like. If we get another, imagine like Siakam for like Taco Fall. Like we don't need anybody on our team, especially if they make a bad trade too.
What if they traded Siakam for Joel Embiid? Like a bunch of players plus Siakam and fix for Joel Embiid. I think that would be amazing.
Joel would be good because Joel can score and rebound.
Yeah, Joel, and he's also like he is a championship centerpiece. The problem is like the Sixers kind of did a bad job of surrounding him with stuff.
Yeah,
and he's also
but I don't think they would really do it. Like, would they just put Siakam for Embiid? Unless they want to rebuild. If they want to rebuild, then yeah. I don't think the Sixers need to rebuild right now. To be honest, they have Andre Drummond, but
yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. So I think next we should talk about the surprise of the summer league, which I think is pretty universally known to be Liangelo Ball. So Liangelo Ball, obviously, he has two brothers in the NBA: Lonzo, who was picked second overall, and then LaMelo, who was picked third overall. And he is the middle brother in between those two. He was in the draft class with Trae Young and Luka, but he didn't end up getting drafted at all. He went undrafted. He had a few workouts with the Lakers summer league team when I think Lonzo was still on it. And then after that, he signed with the Pistons for a little bit, but he didn't see any playing time or anything. And then now the Hornets, who his brother LaMelo is on, just signed him for their summer league roster, and he actually got a lot of playing time. And so in the two summer league games that he's played, he's dropped 16 points and then 10 points respectively. The 10 points, while he didn't score as much, he was efficient. He shot 4 of 8 from the field. And I was wondering do you think he has a serious chance of making an NBA roster for the season, just based off how he's actually played pretty well?
Yeah, I think he does. Especially because the Hornets traded away Devontae Graham and Malik Monk, who are their guards. They definitely need somebody like Liangelo. That would be cool to see Liangelo and LaMelo there because they know each other. They've played together, so it actually helped them too with chemistry. And then you got Mason Plumlee, who's their forward, so you don't have to worry about that either. Yeah, I think he would be a good fit. I think he would.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, like, he probably is like he's been shooting a lot of threes in the summer league games. He's been shooting well. I think he's shooting over 50% right now. Obviously, he's not going to do that forever, but he easily is the best 3-point shooter out of the Ball brothers. And I think in a league where shooting is so useful, he'll definitely, if he continues just to shoot well and score points and do what he's done so far, I think there'll be some team that wants to pick him up just because he can shoot well.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's also kind of inspiring because if you remember, like he was in that scandal where he shoplifted and stole some stuff or tried to steal some stuff, and then he got dropped from UCLA and got in all this trouble. But after that, even then, after being so low, he continued to work hard. He kept pushing through, and now everybody was making fun of him. They were like, he's the only Ball brother that he's the bad Ball brother. He's like all blah, blah, blah. And now he's possibly making the league, which is, I think, just great.
Yeah, it's a good story as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can move on now to free agency. Since we have been away, there's been a few. Luka Doncic signed a $200 million extension. We kind of talked about that Ben Simmons cut off his contact with the Sixers. There was a video of him with Rajon Rondo working on his jumper. I don't think it's a hint that he might be joining Atlanta. But Kawhi is having a new contract with LA. The Celtics got Dennis Schroeder for $5.9 million a year when the Lakers offered him $21 million a year. And we're just shocked that he accepted an offer that was like a third of his original contract. So yeah, I think with Luka, um, I think he deserves to stay there. I mean, Luka needs somebody. We've been talking about it probably ever since like the season ended. Like Luka needs a partner. Porzingis is not the one. Ben Simmons. I mean, I think for Luka, the main thing is that just keep playing how you're playing. I think he'll be MVP next year if he plays well. But I think he needs like a center or a forward to be like. It would be cool like with like a Luka and Dirk Nowitzki in his prime, but obviously right now you can't have that.
Yeah, I think Luka signing the extension is like a relief for the Mavericks because even if he's not super happy with some of the ways the team is playing or with who's on the personnel of the team, signing the contract just shows that he wants to be here in the long run and he wants to compete for a championship. So I think it's just which is just great.
Yeah, I think with Jesus Christ. I think with Luka, I think Luka will have a good career. I mean, he's already had such a good career, but I won't be surprised if he walks away with an MVP, a few championships. I mean, I'm excited for his future. In my opinion, he's my favorite player currently, not all time, but currently, other than Steph Curry. So I think I won't be surprised if they do well.
Yeah, and then I guess moving on, the Ben Simmons thing, we already kind of talked about how he cut off contact with the Sixers, but the working on his jumper with Rondo was kind of interesting. I think it's good that he's trying to improve the jumper, but I still don't know if he's gonna ever actually use it because like
Yeah, because you've seen videos over the past like few years where he's been like showing videos of him working on his jumper, but then he never uses it in the game. Like what you just said, he never uses those jumpers in his game. So I'm really confused, like what he's trying to tell the fans.
yeah, I think honestly, like even if he's a super bad shooter, he should at least try. Like there's no point in not trying. Like look at Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook shoots like under 30% from three for most of his career, but he still chucks them up like nothing. Like you just have to go for it because you never ever like the famous saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Like he should at least try. He doesn't know if his jumper is bad until he actually tries it in a game. He never tries it in a game, and that's why people just clown him, and that's why he's not that useful in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that with Ben Simmons, it's kind of complicated. I don't know what's gonna happen with Ben Simmons. With him, I think that he needs to find a team that can suit him. I mean, he had a great he's been great in Philly. I think he'll either be with some other team or an unrestricted free agent for a year because it just doesn't look like he wants to be in Philly right now. Um, you can't forget because it could also be because of the other players that they're not giving him enough shots, but I don't think that's the fact. I just think he just needs to shoot well because
Yeah,
he's not shooting well.
the thing is, he's the point guard for the team, so he decides, he runs the plays, like, so he can decide whether or not he wants to shoot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really up to him, and I think he's just more, he's like not scared, but he just doesn't want to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think with him it's gonna be it's gonna be something. He's gonna have a future, and that's something that's exciting. Never mind.
Yeah.
Um,
So moving on to the Kawhi contract, he hasn't signed it yet. He's just finalizing it. We don't know what the money is going to be, how many years, but it's looking very likely like he's going to re-sign with the Clippers, which I think is definitely a relief for the Clippers because honestly, after last season, even though they did better than expected, especially considering Kawhi was injured, you still like Kawhi obviously has shown in the past that even if he's injured, he wants to win. And if the team isn't really winning, then he's not really that interested in playing, right? So I think it's just another, just like how with Luka, it's just a relief that he's coming back.
Yeah, I think the Kawhi needs to because he got injured. He wanted to play, but then his team did so well without him. They almost made the NBA Finals without Kawhi. So now I was like thinking, especially during that series, like what would happen if Kawhi was there? Like especially with him scoring and being a former Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would have definitely won that series. I think the Clippers would be in the finals.
Yeah,
because they lost in 6 without him playing. I mean, who knows what would have happened if he won?
yeah, I think yeah. So we can move on to the last one. Dennis Schroeder accepted a 1-year, $5.9 million deal with the Boston Celtics. I was surprised to hear because he turned down a big offer with LA, but then I was talking to my dad earlier and we were saying like, what if he just didn't want to be in LA and what if he just wanted to be in Boston? But then I thought like he wanted $25 million. Like that's almost like a fifth of what he wants. Like why did he accept it? Did he want to go to Boston? I don't know.
I think during the season, the Lakers offered the extension, $21 million. But he thinks that like, oh hey, I just won 6 Man of the Year. I'm playing pretty okay with the Lakers. I could get some serious money. Like I can get $25 million. So he turns it down, and he hopes in the offseason that either the Lakers or some other team is gonna offer him more money. Then he has a pretty bad playoffs versus the Suns, so his value goes down. He can't get that $25 million because teams are just not willing to pay for him anymore, pay that much money, and so he basically sits the whole offseason with nothing, with no offers on the board. And then finally someone offers it, gives him an offer. And because he probably just doesn't want to sit around the entire next season, he said, okay, I guess I'll accept the Boston's offer.
Yeah. I think with Boston they got rid of Kemba Walker. I think Dennis Schroeder could be a good fill-in with that. Hopefully he can.
Yeah, I think he'll be good, but I don't know. He'll probably start, which will be good. And hopefully, I honestly hope that he has a good season again because I actually like him as a player. He just had a bad year last year.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So,
I mean, that was still really not a very smart decision to just completely reject that offer. That is like just so bad.
yeah, you cannot reject that kind of offer. $21 million a year, but then you accept like $6 million. That's not right. You cannot do that. Like if I got offered $21 million a year, I don't care where it would be. I would just go and accept it. Like $6 million, man, and especially $21 million for your performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we can move on to the Olympics. So we don't have too much to talk about there, but Team USA won the gold medal after beating Australia or France. Put a little air in there, 87-82. KD scored 29. Draymond Green called out analysts on Twitter for thinking USA would lose early. Draymond Green was so funny because when you were like watching the ceremony of the medal ceremony, you just saw him with his phone just like vlogging. It was so funny. You saw him vlogging, and he was just like saying fun stuff. So it was great.
Yeah,
And then
like with that, I mean, he literally called out everybody, like every single person, like all these ESPN guys, all these Fox guys. They were all like, "Oh, the Team USA, they're gonna lose to Spain, they're gonna lose to France, they're gonna lose to Australia or Slovenia or someone." And then they just completely doubted him after those first two games. And I think all the players, everyone saw that, and it just really motivated them, got on their nerves, and that's why Draymond just came out and was like, "Hey, we won, and you doubted us."
yeah, Draymond was funny. But yeah, also Australia got the bronze first gold medal or first medal, excuse me, basketball medal. Luka had an off night. he was a little bit injured, but he didn't play too well. Patty Mills was emotional because he never got a medal. He's been working hard for it. Um, I think that's much. That's to sum it up. But I think with Team USA, like as long as they get so much NBA talent, I think that they'll always be a really high contender to make the gold medal game.
Yeah, I don't think maybe soon, but they'll be challenged like challenged a lot. Like I think this is the most that they were challenged in the Olympics since 2004, where they lost in the semifinals and only got the bronze medal. But I mean, they still ended up winning, and at the end of the day, it's just 2-1. It's not really. Well, yeah, they didn't win it by as much. They still won. Like it's supposedly a down year for Team USA, but they still won gold. Like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's funny because when other teams have down years, like they call it like just like a bad record. But then for Team USA, a down year is not playing well in the games, but still getting the gold medal.
It's just like it's more of the expectations that they have on the players than anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so I think for the last part of today, we have some super early award predictions. I can start on mine. Um, so we have just the
Yeah,
NBA.
I think we'll just go one on one. Like,
Yeah, so we have MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, and Most Improved Player. So I mean, we'll do one by one, MVP, so on and so forth. So I'll start with my MVP. I mean, we have the same MVP, Luka Doncic. I mean, we kind of already talked about it. If Doncic puts up these point performances, I think that there'll be no doubt that he'll win the MVP award. He played actually well in the Olympics. He didn't score as much as he does in the NBA, but if he produces the scoring he does in the NBA, the passing, I think that there'll be no doubt. I think his team also has to perform well, so hopefully he can get a partner in crime and get that MVP.
yeah, I think for Doncic at least, it's just literally will the team have a good enough record? Because typically in NBA history, the MVP literally always favors people who have very high seeds and are like the first seed, or something like that. So it's just more of okay, will Doncic get a top 5 seed in the West or something? And then if he does, they should have the MVP in the bag.
Yeah. So for me, my defensive player of the year is Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis. I mean, I put Rudy Gobert because he wins like every single year, so you can't really talk about. But Gobert just gets so many rebounds where I won't be surprised. Anthony Davis, he needs to have a good year with LA. I think that he can't get injured. He needs to get there because I think in defense the most important thing is blocks, rebounds, just being there. And all obviously the big men always win. So I think it's between those two.
Yeah, I also said that Anthony Davis is my defensive player of the year. If he's healthy. And if he's healthy, the reason why I think he would win is because obviously with Russell Westbrook coming to LA, he's not they have a big three now. So with all big threes, they're not gonna have to score as much. And while maybe they decide to put Anthony Davis like as their main scorer, what I think will happen is he's probably gonna become like the defensive anchor, especially since people like Westbrook and Carmelo aren't that good defenders. I have a feeling that Frank Vogel is going to rely even more on AD to anchor the defense and make them a really good defensive team. And I think that effort is probably what's going to help him get the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I agree with that. So for rookie of the year, I think it just depends. So I mean, you the top draft picks, they just didn't have like good teams, obviously. So I said it's like between Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, and Kate Cunningham. It just depends on how their team is because Cade's on the Pistons, Jalen Green's in the Rockets, Suggs on the Magic, not good teams. So whoever can put up that better performance in the season, and then who can make their team go the farthest. I personally think Jalen Green would probably have the best chance because he's already put up really good performances in the summer league, and hopefully he can transfer that to the NBA and hopefully put on a performance to make his team really good.
Yeah, I think that Jalen Green will win the Rookie of the Year. because I think just again from him playing in the G League, you'll have a lot of experience playing in the NBA. In the G League, he averaged 18 points per game, which is really good. And I think that experience will just transfer over, especially in the first year, and he'll be able to just get off to a better start than his counterparts, which will allow him to win Rookie of the Year. But obviously, you never know. With Rookie of the Year is probably one of the hardest to predict because you're always gonna get surprised by a rookie or two, and so you never know.
Yeah. So, Coach of the Year, I think that it will be Billy Donovan or Eric Spoelstra. I think it's going to be with the new team because obviously I think the Coach of the Year is just given to the coach with the breakout team. I mean, last year, yeah, I think it's going to be one of the two, the Bulls or the Heat coach. It just depends on which team does better and who has the better coaching.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Eric Spoelstra of the Heat because um, obviously Miami had a pretty bad year this year, and I think with all the new additions that they made and with what they're going for next year, which is obviously I think contention, I think they're going to be a top 3 seed, hopefully top 4 seed, and I think Spoelstra is going to be a big part of that. And a lot of credit and win coach.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes, and I'm excited for the NBA next year. But next we can go to 6 men of the year. We have, for me, I have Derrick Rose or Terrence Mann. Obviously, if Kawhi re-signs, then Terrence Mann will probably be on the bench. So I think that Terrence Mann can bring it. I mean, you saw him in the playoffs. He played well. Now everyone's respecting him finally. And then Derrick Rose, I think if he puts on a show in New York, he can do it. I think those are my top two. I don't have one guy that I'm particularly, brought in by. So I think those two.
Yeah, I agree too. I think Derrick Rose will probably win 6 man of the year. I think the Knicks will be better than last year, even if it doesn't show in the standings, just because their team has more star power and they brought in better pieces. And I think just like last year, obviously Derrick Rose didn't play the full season last year. With the Knicks, he only came about halfway. I think this year with a full year in front of him with a competitive Knicks team, I think he'll get them the 6 man of the year pretty easily.
Yeah. So for the last one, I think we can go on to the most improved player. It's the last one. I think Lonzo. I mean, you said Lonzo as well. I think with Chicago, he has more opportunity there because he's the star of the team. There's DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic and Zach LaVine, who he can kind of build around. So I think that's going to be my most improved player, just because I think he can score. I think he can be something like that, like a Damian Lillard, just with Zach LaVine, spot up shooter, and just go. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I agree that Lonzo Ball would be it. I think that if you look at his shooting every season in the league, it's improved every single year. And last year he was actually a very good 3-point shooter. And I think honestly, as he continues to improve his jumper, he'll be even better this year. And I think that along with more experience and just a new situation and the fact that he'll probably be the number 2 guy after Zach LaVine, I think. I don't know exactly how it'll work, but I think he'll be somewhere there, number 1, 2, or 3. And just the bigger opportunity will allow him to get the most improved player.
All right. Yeah. We're excited for the next season, guys. Well, that's going to do everybody for the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening, whether you're listening on YouTube, where it's our main thing. Thank you for viewing the shorts on Instagram. We very much appreciate it. And yeah, everybody, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.